Hello, and welcome to OER and Pre-Service Teacher Education, a case study of usage, value, and connectiveness. This presentation today is brought to you by Drs. Kim Godwin, Karen Nourse, Angie Hooser, and Janna McClain. A little background on this course and this project. So the group of individuals were awarded a grant a couple of years ago to develop an open educational resource textbook through the Tennessee Board of Regents, as well as Achieving the Dream. As a part of this grant, we began the development of an open educational resource textbook through our institution's Pressbook account, and we participated in trainings through Achieving the Dream and the Tennessee Board of Regents. One of the things that was important to us in this was engaging the students that are future teachers in what a classroom may look like. What are some of the things that we need to be thinking about and bring into our experiences, some of the awarenesses, some of the cultural responsive needs. What are those things and how can we help support future teachers in those experiences? One of the things that we had discussed was engaging with The Promise. The Promise is a podcast based out of Nashville, Tennessee, that looks at two separate institutions that are very near each other in proximity and have very different experiences based on some of the cultural norms in the city. Our foundation for creating this textbook and engaging with The Promise was the culturally responsive framework and rubric presented by Achieving the Dream. In that, we focused on how are we creating a culturally responsive pedagogy while teaching these students and really concentrating on bringing in diverse perspectives from authors, from videos, from editors, from types of resources, whether that be text resource, video, audio, all of the different modalities of learning that can happen. And how are we taking those different modalities and perspectives and voices and merging them into one resource for the students in this course? Our methodology for the study that we are presenting today is that our survey design is created through Qualtrics. We use the informed consent. We had OER and demographic questions within the survey that the students created, and we used a mix of both multiple choice and short answer questions. Our survey participants. The information was collected over 2 semesters in this course that is taught by several faculty members at the institution. There were a total of 60 students that participated. A majority of those students, at 58%, are elementary education majors. It's also important to note some demographics about the population of students that participated. A majority of those students were white at 75%. 87% were female, 12 students did not indicate race, and 13% of the students identified as Black. Some of the findings. More than half of the students agreed with the following, that 62% preferred the e-text over a print book. 72% felt that OER was easy to navigate. 55% valued the video content, stating that the videos helped me better understand and appreciate what was being discussed in the text. 53% agreed with the statement, I learned things I'd never previously encountered before. The students also convey that their favorite H5P activities, of which we embedded several, the examples that they wish to use, and then we have also included those for reuse if you would like to use those. Of those H5P activities, 53% enjoyed the drag and drop the best, 67% really liked the crossword puzzle, and 52% really liked the matching. The students were able to pick up to 3, and these were the 3 that were most commonly chosen. A little more information about The Promise, that podcast that I mentioned earlier in the presentation. With our findings, many students had things to say about that podcast. And with the promise, 40% agreed that the promise inspired them. They felt connected to the promise and that podcast. 43% agreed, I learned things from the promise that I'd never previously encountered before. That is a statement that we really wanted to make sure to share in our presentation, because that podcast, because of its look and the way that it communicates with students and the way that it looks at the culturally responsive needs of a community and a school, created an opportunity for students to engage in an experience they may not have previously had. It wasn't much for us to include that podcast into our press book, but it really had an impact on many of our students. Some qualitative themes that were found as part of our additional findings were that students indicated that they appreciated the OER itself. They stated that it was digestible, able to keep focus, and enlightening. They also stated that they loved the OER. It was very easy to read and very refreshing compared to a normal class textbook. The second theme we found was that students appreciated the interactive H5Ps within the pressbook and our course shell. One of the comments was that I liked how easy the crossword puzzles were, but also beneficial because you knew the criteria. You could fly through the content. The second comment that really spoke to us was, I like the games that helped you connect the reading ideas and see if you understood or misunderstood the content. When we think about how we're engaging our students and we're creating those opportunities for learning and embracing culturally responsive pedagogy, how are we connecting with our students? How are they making connections with the readings and understanding that information so that they can later apply it? Some final thoughts. A couple of things to note. One of our foundational concepts within creating this course and looking at some of the overall themes and information, we continued to connect back to connectivity. Connectivity is a learning theory or a learning concept. There's still debate as to whether or not it's theory. It's a learning theory or concept that looks at how we take things in our digital world and bring them together to create patterns of thought and patterns of knowing and connections for ourselves and our understanding to move forward at a different level of communication. So we really kept coming back to that because within this, we are using an OER press book. It's a digital book. We are using the promise. We are using YouTube videos. We are also using resources and links to articles and websites, other information that's out there for students to go and pull their own understanding and knowledge from the digital world. There are also activities within this course and this book that allow students to go out on their own and research about the different concepts that we cover. Thinking about those things and how those different components come together to create that layer of information and understanding for our students really allows them to connect, and it creates that second passageway that we're really kind of hoping for in helping students understand information literacy, taking content that they find on the internet and reasonably applying their own logic to it so that they can make connections to what they know and comment in ways that engage discussion. The other thing that we really thought was important with the final thoughts that we mentioned throughout this presentation was the use of OER and how that creates culturally responsive pedagogy. I mentioned about that we used videos and articles and other resources. When we were creating those, we were very intentional about creating opportunities for people to hear different voices, whether that be male, female, or non-binary, looking at specifically emphasizing different race and ethnicities, different cultural norms that may be represented within their classrooms, considering religious holidays and events, really creating that opportunity for students to see things outside of what they may have always experienced. For resources and connections, here are a few additional resources for you, and we will be sure to attach those as well. Thank you very much. Glad you could join us today.